last video, I just realized.
Oh, no, really?
No. No, it's on here. We're okay.
Oh,
go.
Hi. I'm
Take
Tracy
two.
Newman. This is take two.
This is take two. But before Tracy starts, I just want to say that we had internet issues. We're in Liza.
She's running through the house. Put some pants on.
This is the funniest show that we've ever done. This is a comedy. Tracy is a comedy writer. This is Tracy Newman. Anyway, this is take two because we lost the internet connection. It's a crazy weather day in LA. We're starting
Because
over.
it's raining.
And LA can't handle rain. So this is Game Changers with me, Vicki Abelson. This is Tracy Newman. Tracy's going to play a different song to start this show.
I'm going to start this with my Carpool song, which I wrote it about driving my daughter Charlotte in a carpool. And can I say a little story before?
Sure, yeah. Tell a story. You can
when
do
I just want to tell you what kind of teenager I was. When I was 16, I was in the kitchen with my mother, and she was very excited, telling me all about this new job she had, and she was very passionate about it. And I sat there thinking, why is she telling me this? Her life is over.
Oh.
She was 36. So this is about my daughter, Charlotte.
Sell it. We got to get the people back.
I hate this school. It's a 40-minute drive. Why couldn't she go to the school nearby? I'm starving. Why didn't I bring something to eat? Why did I wear shorts? I'm sticking to the seat. There's the volunteer security guard. She's gonna. I can't remember this.
No, come on, try.
Oh God!
Come on.
She's gonna. Make everyone move their cars. Why did I ever have a child? My life was so much easier pre-Charlotte. I had no idea how good I had it. I'd see a baby and think, that's what I need. Someone to love who depends on me. Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me now. I'm going to act like I didn't make a mistake.
Okay, yeah.
Well, here she comes, my little bundle of joy, my bundle of love, in her hoodie and jeans. She's walking on her cuffs, her long blonde hair is in a mess of cornrows. She's rapping a verse about gangsters and hoes. She settles in, I ask, how was school? She glares at me 'cause I'm so not cool. How did I ever get this child? I wonder what's making her so mean. Then I remember the way I was at 16. She's treating me like I treated my mama. I'm getting my share of overdue karma. Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me now. If you're gonna break away, you need to turn around and bite the hand that feeds you. Be careful what you wish for, 'cause when you have kids, you're a prisoner of love. They knock you out, they fill up your heart. They're your everything, your shining stars. You wish you.
It's one of those
I can't believe this. You da 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 and you risk your life to protect them, and then they mark up their skin with something permanent. Whatever happened to my child? Oh my God. Why do I keep on suffering this carpool, even though I've had enough of being the world's fool? 'Cause she knocks me out, she fills up my heart, she's my everything, my shining star, oh yeah. It's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now.
All right, we're yeah, I love that song. It's a fabulous song.
I love it too. I haven't looked at it in a while.
All right, so so the internet is not working in your house very well. I can't even get on the iPad.
Oh,
so I don't know what's going on, but we are live. We do have a few people have
Should we
rejoined
go to your
us.
house?
We should have done it I told you we should have done it in my house.
We should do it in your car.
We
Let's go get in your car and do it in your car.
we could go do it at Starbucks. So for those of you who are rejoining us now, I'm really sorry that we had a little internet
We've been having a
glitch.
very good time though, because we're entertaining Peter, who's running the camera. He is
We're
really
laughing.
enjoying
We
himself.
have some people back. Oh, who's shooting up all that love? Somebody's shooting up a lot of love. Look at all the hearts that are
Oh,
popping.
it's some
It's
crazy
probably
person.
I don't know. It's not even Penny. I don't even see Penny on
Who
here.
is
I
it
don't.
then? Is it Linda?
No, I don't know who it is. But I cannot get this thing. All right, I'm going to turn this one off.
Yeah, turn it off. It's
Because-
not working. This one's working.
All right, this one's working, but it's not showing me who's watching the show. So I don't know what's going on. Where I can't see. All
That
I
means
see
we
is
can't
Peg.
talk
And
to
look,
anybody.
somebody. Pete, is that you shooting up all that love?
No, I'm not
Who's
even.
shooting up all that love?
That's-
Somebody's shooting up a lot of love. Maybe it's Liza. Liza, you the one shooting up all the love?
Liza.
About to do it.
She was about to do it.
You were about to shoot
So
up
who
love.
did it?
Okay, so all I see it's Peg. Oh, Peg's shooting up the love.
Thank
I love
you,
you,
Peg.
Peg. Peg, it's just you and I. Peg's still shooting up. Hi, Mike Rowe. Hi, Michael Simpson. Michael Simpson, I just want to tell you, he's the most lovely guy. He watches the show every week. He shares it. He shared my son's show, Harry's sports
I
podcast.
saw it, I saw
He's just really, Michael, thank you. You're a wonderful person to be so generous and kind. I really appreciate that. So anyway, so Tracy, we're starting over. So for those of you who are now joining us, there's this. But wait, we're gonna tell these stories. Let's tell the Ellen story. Well, let's be linear this time. We're gonna be linear.
You start with
We're gonna be linear. So,
like
but
when I was
but
growing
first,
up.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Rick Smoltz.
Okay.
We never really got to, and Tracy is on this tissue box with Jackie Collins and with Kelly Carlin and with I forgot Candy Samoza, and they did Women Who Write, and Tracy's been coming to Women Who Write for 9 years. We've been going for 10 plus. And Rick Smoltz of Quick Impressions in Chicago used to make us swag. I don't know if you remember.
I remember
every
everything.
single
He made
month.
everything for us.
Every
Like
month.
pads of paper.
Right, and calendars
Yeah.
and everything. And every month he gave us stuff. And he just
Look for
did
the
that.
Naked Women Who Write calendar.
He did that out
By
of
Rick
the naked
Smoltz.
men.
Naked men.
He did that out of the goodness of his heart, and he also has made my business great. And by the way, if you need anything, Rick will
Okay.
do
Oh,
that
that's
for you.
good to know.
And he makes beautiful stuff, my bookmarks.
His cards are good.
Yeah, really nice cards with my book on the
With
back.
Vicky's book, Don't Jump.
Okay,
which
so
is really good.
all right,
read
Tracy,
it like-
I need you to tell because you really read it.
I not only read the book, you had read the book at Every Women Who Write, you read
A
installments,
chapter.
and then I read the book. And it's really, really
Was it a
entertaining
different
and terrific.
experience
Um,
having it read to you?
yeah, I guess it is a different experience. I didn't really think about it. I was like, I knew about certain parts were coming. I was looking forward to that. So
Nice.
it's a little different when you've read it, when you've heard it.
Well, I had.
But I don't think I had heard everything.
No,
That's
I
what
had
think.
purposely.
Right, yeah.
I had purposefully stopped halfway through the book so that when you continue to read, there would be stuff that you didn't know. But I did read a chapter a month for many years.
Yeah.
Because it's a long ass
In
book.
fact, you know, I feel like you started Women Who Write kind of to do that, right?
that was why I started.
And it's like, that's a really good lesson to people out there if you're writing something and you need to hear it read or whatever. Just start your own thing. You know, that doesn't have to be a big deal like this. This is like a big show.
It didn't
Big
start
deal.
out as a big show.
No, I know.
No, it's
No, I mean,
it's-
this is different.
Right. But even Women Who Write didn't start out as a big show.
No, it was just a couple of people in the living room.
Yeah, it was 20 people, 20 mommies in the living room, and then, but very, very quickly, because...
and then we had to start buying the chairs, which was a joke.
Thanks to you. My kids and I and Gabe used to go to the church and schlep the chairs up and down the stairs every month. And then Tracy said, why don't we each just buy our chair? And everybody threw $20 into the kitty, and I bought like 50
Very
chairs.
cheap chairs.
I bought really cheap chairs, but we have a lot of chairs now. Anyway, so let's get back to you, Tracy. So Rick Smolke, quick impressions in Chicago. He is fantastic. If you say you're a friend of mine, of the shows, Rick just loves artists and creative people, and he will do it for you and then Nicole Venables, my fabulous hairdresser who I adore, who has Hair Crush Love.
This is hair.
Fuck off. And no, that's my feathers. But Nicole does coif my hair, and she's fantastic.
It's really cool.
And she does the color, she does the cut. She's fab. I mean, you're not supposed to admit that you have your color done, but would anybody in the world believe that?
Yeah, but as you notice, I'm blonder than you are, and my hair is natural, so.
She's such a bitch. It's stopped again on my computer.
Well, we keep going.
No, we're live here.
We're live? Okay.
Keep going.
All right.
Pretend like it's still on. We do our show, and we've done it.
We're just gonna.
I'm afraid to put it on.
Yeah.
Let me go check in the bathroom.
Well, it looks like no. I don't know. I can't tell if we're live. If we're
Say
live,
it's live. It's not recording. It's live.
We're live.
We are
okay.
live.
We're live. Okay. Good. So Tracy, before we get to all your hardware, I want to talk about how you started.
You guys should see how cute Pete is.
Wait, Pete, come around.
Yeah, come around.
Come on. Pete has to tell us about where he's performing this weekend. Because Pete, for those of you who don't know, Pete is a headlining, he's the rock and roll comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and he plays a
Stratocaster, 79 Stratocaster.
A 79 Stratocaster.
Yes.
And so how do you incorporate music into your act, Pete?
I do.
Yeah, he made this for Tracy.
Yeah, I made that. I do a history of rock, right? So it's all stuff that we know, but I pull the irony of it all and make it really funny.
Give us one example.
I do like Van Halen's Eruption, and I play it, but it's really funny.
The way you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you play it.
I do play it. I actually play it. Yeah.
I can't.
Pete also teaches guitar for those of you out there who live in LA.
Yeah.
And so where are you going to be performing this week?
I'm going to be at the comic strip in El Paso, Texas. 6 shows this week.
Wow.
Jeez.
And next week I'm hosting 18 episodes of a corporate game show in Dallas.
Which is crazy because Pete won't be here next week, so
he's
leaving me. I know. Well, Harry, my son, Harry Abelson, who has his own podcast, In the Booth, sports podcast, will be sitting in, or my new, I don't know if it's, this is totally politically incorrect, but my wonderful lesbian Emmy Geisel, who shot for me for 2 years, Women Who Write, and is moving back to St. Louis. But I have my alternate lesbian. My other lesbian is going to be maybe shooting for me. No, it's not politically correct.
You got to have your go-to.
But that's what I call it.
It's your lesbian.
But that's right.
That's
Emmy
right.
is my lesbian, and Kelsey is my other lesbian. But she doesn't like being called my other. I have to call her my West Coast.
She's
my West Coast.
She's my West Coast.
She's a lesbian.
I love that.
Lesbian.
Why Jez?
Because she's jealous.
Oh, because she's
lesbian
jealous.
Is lesbian.
She's a lesbian.
Yeah. Or you can call it a lesbis.
You know, although I have to say, last night I go to meetings, certain kind of meetings, and I go to the
kind of meetings?
Well, I can't say what they're called because I'm not going to break the traditions. And it actually wasn't one for substance abuse; it was the other kind.
Amway.
People, places, and things. The People, Places, and Things program, and I was at one last night at the AT Center, which is the Gay and Lesbian and Transgender Center. And at this particular meeting, I was the only heterosexual at this particular meeting.
Awesome.
And I didn't get called on.
So
it was reverse discrimination.
You also didn't get a date.
Well, you know, I might have been able to. I might have been able to do that.
Yes.
You know,
if you wanted.
I might have been able. Nobody asked me out, but I might have been able to do that.
I'll go to the next one with you.
You will? Why?
Because you're with 2 straight people there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This way you won't feel so left out.
I mean, I just didn't get called on. So, but it did kind of teach me what it must feel like to be the person that's the wrong color, to be the person that doesn't
The
belong,
odd man out.
right? Yeah. Now I don't know that that's the reason I didn't get called on, but it was interesting that I was the only person that didn't get called on. I had my hand up the whole time. I thought, do I?
How did they know?
Do I
They would
look?
know. They would
Well, yeah,
know.
but they know me because
Oh,
all
right.
So anyway, so I thought
That's
that was
why they
interesting.
didn't call it.
Yeah.
They know
So
you.
this show is about Tracy Newman. This is not about the whole.
Yeah, it's not about me.
It's about Pete.
Yeah, it's okay.
So anyway, so Pete doesn't get to sit with us enough. So that's very comfortable for you, isn't it?
No.
No, sorry.
Do you have any
All right.
rice I can kneel on? That would help.
Well, anyway, Pete. Everybody check Pete out, and we're gonna get back to Tracy now.
Beautiful.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Okay, so Tracy, we're in your lovely home, and the way you afforded this lovely home is because you've had a very big career, and you've had a few big careers. You do a lot of things. Wait, people are joining us now. See, people are back, and they're laughing, and they're mad. Oh, somebody was mad. We got a mad face. Why was
some of that lesbian
the
stuff?
lesbian? They didn't.
It was a
like
while ago.
Oh.
I think when it got disconnected, maybe
Oh.
I accidentally hit
Well,
that
that's
button.
the right thing to be mad at.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hit it.
If
Well,
that was
you
it.
know, I don't know. Hi, Lynn. Lynn's with us. Lynn Stewart.
Is it
I
Lynn
love
Stewart?
you. The tap
Oh.
keeps stop. Oh, the tape keeps stopping, but you both look fantastic.
You know, Lynn was in a show last night. She was so good.
Tell us about
Lynn
it.
Stewart.
Yeah.
It was called The Pack at the Pico, and Eugene Pack had written a bunch of.
She's cleaning her Peabody
cleaning my
word
Peabody
while we're
word.
on the air live.
Because the chocolate's melting out of it.
Anyway, Lynn played washed up, not washed up, but just an old,
No.
just old
A has-been?
No, not
No?
even quite a has-been. Just somebody who was sort of a star on Broadway for years, and now she's very old. She's not. I mean, she was dead. I realized she's a ghost. She was a ghost.
Okay, well-
but you know,
But
Tracy
Tracy
so
just,
funny.
Tracy just gave away the end.
Well, that's all right. I don't know if they'll do
what is
it
that
again.
called? Pete, what is that
I
called?
don't know, but
It's
Tina
called,
commented,
What?
I want to be a lesbian.
I want to. Tina, you want to be a lesbian? Okay.
I
can
mean,
arrange
it
that.
would be easier, wouldn't it? It seems like it would be easier. I
So
hear
much
it's not.
easier.
But it just seems like
no,
Good for
you know
me.
what? From what I hear, it's not easier.
No, it's
because
not,
as soon as you
but-
go on a first date, lesbians go on a first date, they exchange keys. Now that's the way my heterosexual dating life was
Mine
back in
too.
the day, right?
Yeah.
The
It's like you make a
they say
connection
the
and
move-
you just
no,
want to go all the way. That's it.
The moving truck comes with lesbians. I've been told that the next day the moving truck comes.
You know, you're saying
So-
a lot of offensive things.
I know. So since we're talking about
I'm not
the
saying
gays,
those things.
all right. I only say this because I love. So we have to talk about this now because we talked about it in the last episode. We got cut off.
This is called an Emmy. And, you know, here's a little known fact.
Go ahead.
It's kind of sad. When you win an Emmy, you have to buy it.
That is not true.
This was $300 in 1997. I'm sure it's more now.
You
I
have
won
to
this in
buy
19
your Emmy?
If you're not a star, I'm sure that Ellen didn't have to.
She's cleaning her.
Well, I'm just noticing the cleaning lady has to.
Windex.
She's cleaning her Emmy
Windex.
while we're on the show. You bought this.
I bought it
Yeah, but
because I wanted to have it, but I mean, I won it.
But we're saying Julie Louis-Dreyfus doesn't have
No,
to
no,
buy
no.
her
If you're,
Emmy.
if in other words, think of it this way: what good does it do the Emmy Corporation or whatever they are for me to have this? However, if Ellen has one on her wall, or many of them, it's a feather in their cap.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
So there is a pecking order,
Yeah.
and writers at the
What,
bottom.
in Hollywood?
Right, and writers at the bottom of that.
Writers, you know, that's interesting that you say that. Yes, it's true. Anybody who's not a star is down at the bottom.
Right.
But it's interesting that in television, really writing is, besides being a star, I guess, you know, but writing, it's a writer's medium.
Yes,
A lot of people think that, you know, they want to be a director or they want to be a producer or whatever, but it's really, in my opinion anyway, I mean, and I think it's the truth actually, it's a writer's medium. And writers go up the ladder as producers, really. Like you start out as a story editor, but you're not really a story editor, you're just a writer. And then you're still a writer, but you end up being the executive producer.
And why is that? I mean, I know that to be true.
Well, I don't know. I think they don't know. There's no other way to give. What title do you give?
So in order to
another,
increase somebody's
writer, better writer, better writer, better writer, better writer, longer time on writer, experienced writer. You know.
So I just saw Tracy Reiner's on. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Um,
You were named after me.
Yeah. She was not. No.
That's terrible.
That's so bad. So let's go back to.
Oh yeah. So this is for the coming out episode of Ellen. which was in 1996, and I won this in 1997. And we did a whole thing. We're not going to repeat it.
Well, we're not going to repeat the story? Okay.
Really, should we?
I'm feeling like we have new people now, so I'm
but
feeling
we have
like
some of the same ones.
Yeah, but I'm feeling like you need to tell the story.
Tell us, you have to write to us and tell us how you feel about hearing the same story.
How do you feel about hearing the same story? I think we need to tell.
Maybe I can come up with some other stuff about that.
Okay, so wait, so you're working on Ellen.
We're working on, I was there 4 seasons, and all of a sudden Ellen has a party, which was unusual. It's not like she had parties at her house and invited us.
Okay, this is in real life. This is not on the show.
This is in real life.
Okay.
Actually, this was after the 3rd season.
Okay.
And it was summer or something, or in between seasons, and she announced to the writers that she wanted to come out. And apparently, she had already talked to the studio and the network, and they were all behind it. And
she hadn't come out in real life yet.
Well, not in public. Everybody knew though.
Right, but I mean, she hadn't. She had. When she came out, when Ellen came out,
it was a huge shock in sort of.
But she came out as her character on the show before she did as a person, or not?
I think it was simultaneous. It's a good question. I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't remember.
So she announced she wanted to do it.
Yeah, and there were the minute anybody got wind that this might be happening, there were bomb scares.
Oh wow.
There were. The religious right, I guess that's who it was, were threatening Disney, like saying they wouldn't go to Disneyland.
Wait a minute, so this got leaked before
it was leaked, but it was like close to the episode. It was like they were trying to stop it from happening very close to when it happened.
Okay.
When you do a season of 26 episodes and you have an arc, which that show didn't have a great arc, but this time it kind of did. We were subtly building up to this.
Okay.
And then, somebody says, you can't do that. It's like you're going to put up a fight. Yeah. And especially in this situation. Right. I mean, Ellen truly, in her personal life and on the show, she had to do this.
Yes.
She just was too unhappy hiding. And which anybody would be.
Talk about what happened.
I'll say something about my partner at that party, because I went. He went out on the balcony.
Did we mention his name here?
Jonathan Stark. He's going to love this.
That sounded sarcastic.
Yeah.
Jonathan Stark. He went out on the balcony, and I went out there, and I said, "This is amazing." And he said, "I don't think I want to do it." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "I just feel like our career's really good, but we're not under a microscope." He said, "I totally get it. I want to be there, but I'm worried that what if this episode's not good? It's not like we had been chosen to write it yet, but it just was
you
like,
still hadn't been chosen to write it.
Nothing.
Okay.
Just this was going to be the writing staff, right? So he was worried about being having the spotlight on us." Because we had started on Cheers. When you start at the top like that on a show that's so popular.
We're going to talk about that too.
That was like 1991 or something, the 10th season of Cheers.
Wow.
We really learned how to run a show just by watching what was going on there. They had it down, man. They came in at 10 and they left at 6. Wow. It was a real job, a regular job.
Wow.
And we learned so much from those guys and from that show. And so
who was the showrunner on Cheers?
It was Bill and Sherry Stein-Kellner, who are the people that brought us on, and Fief Sutton. But running the room at the time were Dan O'Shannon and his partner Tom Anderson, and Dan Staley and his partner Rob Long. And Dan O'Shannon was pretty much running the room. And Dan was in his 20s. Wow. And he, these were guys, Princeton, Harvard guys, Lampoon type guys, really sharp. And I was 46. It was my first job writing television, and I was going through menopause. And I used to sit in there and have a hot flash and want to just tear my clothes off and run out of there. And all I could think of is, can these kids see the sweat on my face?
We're going to go back and talk about how...
But I wanted to talk about John for a minute. So,
okay.
So Jonathan, I said to him, it's going to be great, though, don't you? I mean, we're part of history. This is a great thing. And he totally agreed with that. I mean, he wanted to be on board with that. So, and there was another show he wanted to be on at the time. I think it was Hope and Gloria or something like that with Cynthia Stevenson. And so when the time came for them to choose who was going to write it, and they ended up
Which
choosing,
that would have been a faulty choice on his part, by the way, because
well,
I don't know
I'm
that
just
show.
going to talk about this.
Okay.
You know, he when they chose us, he was like, "Oh shit."
Well, now
This is
people,
like, it's
these
bad
people,
enough, you
Wait,
know,
these people didn't hear the story because that was on the earlier show, part 1, before we got interrupted. This is part 2 for those of you who are joining us now.
For whatever reason, my partner Jonathan Stark and I were chosen to write the first half hour. Remember, if you saw it, it was a full hour, but the first half hour was where she comes out at the airport.
And you both are heterosexual.
Yeah.
And there were
a
gay
number
people
of gay people on the staff.
And they did not choose them. And your theory behind that
I guess I just felt like, I felt like she was a character that was incapable of intimacy. I feel like I'm going through a broken record.
No, that's okay. Because
they
haven't heard it.
Of intimacy, and that just because she's now dating the right sex, would it really make that big a difference? I mean, if you're incapable of intimacy, if you can't even be terribly intimate with your friends, are you going to suddenly be able to be intimate? And so I just felt like, well, it's going to be the same thing.
No, but you said the reason that you thought that the network picked you guys, the 2 heterosexual writer partners.
Well, one of the reasons might be that they were heterosexuals that picked us too, I guess. You know, and truth be told, do I really know that?
Stop banging you. You're banging by the microphone. They're going to hear a
So when I used to wear those things, I'd be going, just like...
yeah, banging on the microphone. Bam! The first week we had the microphone, Isai Morales and I were banging on the table, and boom through the. We had it on the table.
Cute.
He is so cute. He's going to come to
so
Women
good
Right.
in Ozark.
He was
gone.
fabulous.
He's dead.
Yeah, he blew up. Yeah, his head was no longer on his body. So all right, so let's go back to this. So you wrote this.
So I'm saying that he was really, he felt like that our careers were going to be ruined again.
And that's far. That's far from what happened in actuality.
Well, it's not, again, he was so, if you knew John, you'd know that he was so on board with the whole idea of this, but he didn't want anything to rock the boat, and I get that, and I can't say I didn't have that fear too, but I said at that time, look, they've given us 4 months off to write a 22-minute show.
Did they really?
What they did was we had to come in 2 days a week, and the rest of the week we had to write the thing.
Wow.
And I thought, if you think we can't write something that's funny to us and meaningful, a 22 minutes that means something in that amount of time, then we deserve to get slammed by the reviewers. So that, I think that kind of helped. And we had so much fun, especially writing the scenes. If anybody remembers the episode of her in the hotel room with the guy,
Tell, because I don't remember.
Well, it's like he's sitting there, sitting like this. He's got his arm around her, and she's got a bottle of water, and she's going, like that, which you don't write that,
Right.
So
that's Ellen.
Funny.
Yeah.
And he's putting his arm around her, and he's kind of making the moves on her, and her way of getting out of it was so much fun to write. And they actually get on the bed, and she's talking about it. She's yelling, "I love men, I love men," and it was, I don't even remember. I'd have to get the script out, and then the scenes with Laura Dern in her hotel room where Laura says, "Well, I really thought you were gay." And Ellen says, "Why would you think that?" And gets up, and she's backing away, and she goes to this ice bucket and gets a glass and starts putting ice, and it's like all over the floor, and she's putting ice and puts it in her mouth, and is like so uncomfortable. I mean, it's great to write for somebody who's, physically can do that stuff too. So anyway, it was great fun. So and we were.
Was this a surprise?
Yeah, it was, because I think Gil Younger, who directed it, and he did a great job. He didn't win, and that doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
And so and we were up against Seinfeld, 2 Seinfelds, Yada Yada, and
wow.
And one other
did
great
Peter
one.
Melman write Yada Yada?
Peter Melman is angry at me to this day.
I think Peter's won at least one Emmy, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I was sitting in the audience with my shoes off. My feet were swollen. You know, I had high heels on.
Yeah.
And I had to put my shoes on so fast, and then I had to get out of the aisle and then run up the aisle, and my feet were like killing me. And, you know, I get up there, and I wasn't even smart enough to stand in a close picture. Like, if you look at the thing, I have it on my website, on tracynewman.com. Go to fun stuff. See the mistakes I've made in my life. Just watch me on the Emmy. Ellen's going to read something. She goes like this to my partner, and he just looks straight ahead. He doesn't take it from her. So she hands it to me, who's like this tall. He's like this tall. She hands it to the smallest person on stage.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's
standing
heavy,
there.
this thing.
I'm holding the Emmy, and I moved off camera for some reason. So the poor cameraman is like, what? She's talking, and he goes over to me. And probably, I'm sure somebody yelled at him, "What are you doing?"
It's Ellen.
And I'm standing here like this. I have a photo of that. It's great.
Are you wearing your shoes?
I'm wearing my high
I'm
heels.
so
and then you
glad.
had to walk this thing where you go, you know, through reporters
press.
backstage and everything, and Anna Haitia's like doing this with Ellen's makeup and everything. And we're getting our pictures taken, and by then I was floating. By then, I didn't feel my feet. It was a big moment, you know.
It is a big
was a
moment.
big
And so
moment.
how did it impact, we're going to go backwards how you got started, but how did it impact yours and Jonathan's career after
we
that?
had so many offers after that. I mean,
But wait, let's just
we had
say-
a very lucky career.
let's just say though that after this season of you winning the Emmy, you and Jonathan were fired.
Yeah,
You
the
let
whole
go.
staff was fired.
So we talked about that earlier.
But I mean, there had been a purge after every season, and we had survived. So I don't, you know, we felt like there's going to be an elephant in the room next season, and I don't know how to deal with it, other than the feeling that the show stays the same. She dates women now, and she still can't connect. That was the only thing I could think of, but
Right.
they took that in a different direction. Tim Doyle took over as the executive producer, and he's terrific. So.
And so, what was that? Was that writer's room? Was Ellen's writer's room different than other writers' rooms? I mean, I'm sure that they all have their own personality, but because that's such an intense, was it different?
Yes.
How so?
There were some gay women,
Okay.
which was great,
Mm-hmm.
and gay men, but it was, I'd say 50-50, and it was always a great staff. But remember, it's like a different staff except for me and John and this guy Alex Hirschlag every season.
Why do you think that you and Jonathan were
I
carried
think
over?
it was her manager, but I don't know. And I sorry, our son blanking on his name right now. I love that guy.
Okay, maybe it'll come to you while we're here and doing this.
And so the last season, though, if you recall, if you watched it ever,
I watched it sporadically. I never watched it all the way straight through.
Was Ellen getting to deal with a lot of things that bothered her about going somewhere with your girlfriend when you're gay?
Uh-huh.
You know, trying to get a hotel room or whatever, walking down the street holding hands, all the things that she wasn't able to do before. And so it became, I think, cause fighting kind of thing. I think that was, you know, if there's a reason that it didn't stay on, maybe that's it. I don't know. I mean, I think they lost some audience.
Well, what's fascinating and fabulous is that Ellen has had her greatest success since that went
I'm
off
sure
the
she
air,
thought.
right?
I know she thought it was all over, and it was the best was yet to come.
And
So-
and I think that's kind of are we still live? Because mine's frozen.
You're
here.
live.
All right, so I don't know what the hell
We're
is going
counting on you,
'cause-
Pete.
So it keeps telling me that it keeps showing me a picture and we're stopped. So I think Lynn said that it keeps stopping out in Facebook land.
Well, that was like hard to watch if it keeps.
Is it stopping?
It's delayed, but it's going.
Yeah.
It's delayed and going. There's a lot of comments. I don't know if that's all people telling us, you're stopped, you're
Michael
stopped.
Simpson says
Michael says we're live. Okay, good.
Is it your rotary phone?
Hi, Phil. I just saw Phil is on here too. So okay, so all right. So let's put. We're gonna put the Emmy. We could leave the Emmy. It looks so nice.
It does?
Let's hold up the Peabody Award because.
You have to, now another story about this.
Let's have
you
a
know,
story.
when you win the Peabody Award, you have to buy it.
Oh, that too?
And it's $200.
Okay, now what,
again, unless you're the star.
Now, what was this experience like?
They just notify you that you have an award if you want it.
Ceremony and red carpet.
No, and it's the University of Georgia that gives these out. And remember, I don't know. I mean, I grew up thinking the Peabody Awards like a huge thing.
Yeah.
And it's great to have one.
Yes.
But it's a lot of people have one.
Really?
Yeah, like all the people in Animaniacs, and think about how many people there are in Animaniacs.
Is that
That's
true?
a great show and
Yeah.
everything. So
I have one. I bought it.
I don't want to be dissing the University of Georgia and the Peabody Award. I am blown away, frankly, that I have one of these to put on my shelf. But I'm not sure what the deal is with the anymore.
You're one of the few people I know with the Peabody Award, so I'm still very impressed.
I have a couple friends who have them for various
I have
things.
a couple of friends, but I'm very impressed that you have one.
And, you win awards when you're writing for television. Like if you do anything with an animal, that smacks of animal rights in any way, you get a what is that called? I got one. From the animal rights people.
From PETA?
Yes, we did a show with Mary Tyler Moore on Ellen, and where she saves a lobster.
By the way, Pete George, this is his necklace that he
indicated that.
Did you do that? Okay.
And you said it, yeah.
Well,
I just repeating.
No, I think that was on the other show, but Pete made that necklace, and I have
that was
one.
this show when we
It was?
introduced Pete. Yeah.
You can say it again.
And you can get a Pete George
Pete's
necklace.
got some smile, I'll tell you.
And dimples too.
He's very cute.
Oh, I think this is what is that called in Jewish land? Not a sheitel. That's a thing you put on your. There's a thing that it's called when you bring people together. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway,
Smushka. Smush.
Cougar Town?
Smushka. I like.
I'm gonna kill you.
Cougar Town would work
And
too.
then Town.
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, so all right, so let's go. Let's backtrack. And I started to say, you have this gorgeous house. You've earned it. You've had this very big career. So, for those of you who don't know, Tracy comes from a family.
A family.
A family of Newmans that have great success.
Lorraine Newman is my sister.
She is.
And I was one of the founding members of the Groundlings along with Lorraine. The Groundlings, which is an improv company here in Los Angeles that has been for many years kind of one of the main farm companies for SNL. People like Will Ferrell and Phil Hartman, the late Phil Hartman, John Lovitz, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. I mean, it's just Maya Rudolph. I'm not sure about Maya Rudolph. I think Maya Rudolph, actually. I wasn't there when she was there, which is why I don't know. Well, I wasn't there when a lot of these people were there. I was there when Phil Hartman was there, though, of course.
Before you get to the Groundlings, because I'm curious how you got to that. So you have many siblings. You have numerous siblings.
Yeah, and one of my brothers is a musician named Dutch Newman. He does 20s type music, and he's terrific.
So were your parents funny, musical, what?
My stepfather, Lorraine and Dutch, whose real name is Paul Newman.
Okay.
Changed it to Dutch. Anyway, they're twins.
I did
Lorraine's
not know
twin is
that.
Dutch Newman.
Wow, I did not know that before.
Yes.
Okay, and I've known you both for a long
And
time.
so they're from my mother and my stepfather.
Okay.
And I have an older brother, Stephen, who was the lighting designer at the Roxy and who was a lighting designer for groups like Van Halen. And, he went on tour with those guys.
There you go. Call back.
Yeah.
Like it.
Call back to Van Halen. And
so your stepfather, what did he do?
He was in the quilting business.
Wait a minute, I thought you said he was the entertaining one.
He was funny. He was the funny one.
He was funny.
My mother was funny, but like Gracie Ellen is funny.
Okay, so she didn't know she was funny.
No, she just said things
that were funny.
Like we had this maid.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, named Lola, who was literally with our family our whole life. We were a sitcom at home.
So it
and
wasn't
Lola
poverty
used to
in
say
the Newman home.
No, my mother would buy houses and redo them and sell them at a profit, and it was all in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
So she would buy like it back. We're talking about when a house was in Beverly Hills was $90,000, $80,000, and she'd sell it for $180,000.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lola used to do things like, my mother would say, well, if there's one thing I know, and then Lola would say, well, what's the other thing? You know, that kind of thing. She was real sarcastic. So funny. Mm-hmm. And it was a funny household, I'd say. And Lorraine,
when did you figure out, you're Lorraine's older sister,
I'm like 9 years older than the twins. Okay. And my mother was sick for about 6 months when they were about 2. Mm-hmm. And she was in bedridden. And I was their mom. Mm. And
at
I
9.
Loved it.
And you were 11 by this point.
I was, they were born when I was 9, and I was about 11. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't wait to get home from school to take care of the twins. Aww. And walk them and sing to them and do everything. And Lorraine, but actually I have to say they were both really funny. But Lorraine was already kind of doing voices and stuff. Before,
I'm going to do something right now that I wasn't planning on doing, but it's making me cry thinking about it. Could you play a little bit of that song that you wrote for Lorraine?
Again?
The Lorraine song.
I know what you're asking for. Yeah, it's been years.
If you remember it. Tracy did this at Women Who Write years ago, and I think Lorraine was in the house when you did it, and I know it made me cry then, and just thinking about it's making me cry.
30 years ago. 45 years ago, 40 years ago, just a toothpick of a girl was making the whole world laugh. Live from New York every Saturday night for a solid gold hour and a half. Blinded by the lights and the backstage drama, never knowing the extent of her fame, till late one night in the lobby of the plaza, John Lennon shouted out her name, Lorraine, Lorraine. If you could see yourself now that the dust has settled after all stumbling and rising from the rubble, you'd be so glad you're you. If you could see yourself as I do. Anyway, Lorraine, I don't know.
As you were, you're getting a lot of love. As you were singing it, that thing about John Lennon just blows my mind. Which obviously was Tracy's CD. Tell us about it.
This is my first CD, and Lorraine is cut number 3 on "Place in the Sun" by Tracy Newman and the Reinforcements.
And I'm gonna put the link so that you can get to Tracy's website and order all her CDs, because there are numerous CDs that she's got. So that really happened with John Lennon calling out Lorraine's name.
Yeah, but Lorraine tells me it wasn't the Plaza.
Oh, okay. Well,
I thought it was though, it really was across the room, and it, Lorraine, and she looked, and she just like.
Can you imagine?
Because she knew who the Beatles were, of course, and she was like, because they had been so cloistered in their up in wherever it is, Rockefeller Center,
right?
Rock, up there. And so busy.
Right.
And her life had been so focused on that one thing. And she didn't get out. Mm-hmm. And so that was like a huge shock to her.
And so, okay, so we'll come back to Saturday Night Live. So you're a kid.
No, we won't.
We will.
No, I don't
when do you figure, when do you realize that you're funny? Oh, wait, before you're funny, you're playing music originally, right?
Yeah, from the time I was 14, I was singing with children. I started singing in clubs. I went to New York in 1965, and I was playing the Bitter End and the Improv at 44th and 9th. I was there all the time, playing with all the comics. I think that was when I really ended up drifting to comedy. Because Rodney Dangerfield was there, Richard Pryor, Robert Klein, Rodney Dangerfield. I actually went out with Rodney Dangerfield.
Did you really?
He was married, but then he was separated for quite a couple of years, I think. And I went to the Copa. I was his date at the Copa.
Oh
when he came back to show business.
Wow.
Because he came back to show business in his 40s. That's when he became a star. And let's see. Well, I don't know. I mean, really,
Okay, so
really
wait,
everybody
so
was there.
you're singing. So you're singing.
And I was one of the few singers. Maybe one or two singers came there. After their gigs, we would go there like 2 in the morning, stay till 4 or 5 because it wasn't an alcohol place at the time.
Right.
And we would just do our show.
And so did you think at that time, I'm going to be a singer-songwriter, this is what I'm going to do with my life?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people that went to New York to be a star.
What kind of star?
Singing. You know,
To be
not like...
Folk singer, no?
Yeah, but you know, you've seen me on stage. I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great guitar player. I'm a good writer.
You're a personality.
And I consider myself just comfortable on stage. So, you know, that can be... I could have done different kinds of shows, I'm sure. I'm not much of an actress, but Ed McMahon, I went to a vocal coach, and the vocal coach, his name was Bert Knapp, and he had a lot of celebrities, like Gig Young was there, and Peter Falk. These were people that went so that they could speak better, and so they would sing. And he would do things like put these
Peter
things,
Falk sang?
Well, he would sing in this thing just to get his voice. You know, he had
but they were using that to be better
to
actors.
be better elocution.
Yes,
you know.
yes.
This is in the 60s, people.
Yeah.
So Betty White was there. I mean, really, literally, it was a who's who. And for some reason, my appointment was either before or after. I don't remember. It must have been after, because why would Ed McMahon have stayed to listen to me? Or maybe it was before. It was before him, because otherwise he wouldn't have stayed.
Right.
So Bert used to make him listen to me. He'd say, all right, listen, sit down, shut up, and
So
listen.
now-
And he would make me go do some crazy exercise, and I'd have to sing.
So wait, but Ed McMahon was there for a vocal?
He was doing an album. He was on Johnny Carson at the time, but he was making a singing album.
Now, is this before you're on Johnny Carson?
I was on in 1964 as well.
This is the same year.
This is like, I'm sorry, 1960, end of 1964, 65 I was on.
But this thing with Ed McMahon, which happened first?
What are you thinking? The time I was on with the Cards was in 1974.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole other life.
Okay,
But this was like a year out of my life. I can't tell you all the mistakes. I made every mistake that you could possibly
give us like
make.
what?
Oh, for instance, he puts me on The Tonight Show, which was, at that time, there was a 15-minute segment called The First 15 that was just in New York. And then it went live all over the country at 11:30. So at 11:15 to 11:30, they had The First 15.
Is that so?
Yeah.
I mean, I was in New York,
This
so...
was in 1965 when I was
And
there.
I was sneaking watching with the contrast.
You probably
turned
were
down.
watching The First 15, too. And the rest of it, too, you know.
Yeah. So the first 15 started at 11:30?
7:15, 11:15.
At 11:15? Do you remember that, Pete? I don't
No,
remember
he
that.
wouldn't know.
No, he's too young. He's younger than me.
So he put me on The Tonight Show, and my act, I wore a little cap, and I mean, this is like a joke. You can look for pictures of me, or you look for the What's New videos, Tracy Newman, What's New, and you'll see all these videos of me in 1965 in black and white, singing and playing the guitar in my little outfit. And when I went on The Tonight Show, this has got a lot of
That had to
interesting
be
things.
huge for you to
It
get
was
on this.
so fucking scary. I was so scared. And Carson wasn't on, it was Joey Bishop that night.
Oh, wow.
He was the host. And I was not ready for this. I mean,
Was this your first TV show?
Yeah, I mean,
What a place
I
to
was
start.
like, and Ed McMahon was my manager, and he had one of the staff people, the writers for The Tonight Show, wrote a kids TV show called Travels with Tracy, and we pitched it, and I saw these young executives turn down Ed McMahon, and I thought, what is going on?
Okay, wait. This is too much story for.
It's
Let's roll this back a minute. How did Ed become your manager? So
he saw me at my vocal coach, and he and his manager together approached me
as a singer-songwriter, not as a
just
comedian.
as an entity, you know, like a performer.
Did he know you were funny? Were your songs funny back then?
He thought I'd do a great kids show.
Were your songs
I was
funny?
not writing.
You were not writing.
No,
you were doing
I
covers.
was doing what I sang for him was "Brother, Can You Spare a Dime."
And what did you do on the
played the
Tonight
guitar.
Show?
I sang "Don't Think Twice" and "Ticky Tacky," Little Boxes.
Little boxes on. Wow. Okay.
So here's what happened on the Tonight Show.
Okay.
And this is show business in a nutshell.
Okay.
Before I went on, every agent in town was there. When I got off, it was a desert. And here's why. They made me wear a dress and heels. And I had been wearing a little costume with boots and a cap and, you know, like a gamine kind of street paper boy look.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to
They
get my
took you
hair
out of
done
your-
and makeup, and they put me on a stool that had these rungs.
Okay.
And I put my heels inside the rungs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there playing, and I'm thinking, I'm going to fall forward. My heels are stuck, and I cannot fall forward. So I started to sing faster and faster. And the band was playing with me, even though I was playing the guitar.
Doc Severinsen?
They had to, it was Skitch Henderson.
Skitch
That's another
Henderson.
story. That's a Me Too story.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
We want that.
So, and it's a great story about a McMahon, actually.
Okay.
So I got higher and higher, so the band had to slowly stop playing because the pitch was, and that's why. And then everybody applauded and everything, and then I go backstage, after the thing, and just no agent.
Okay, let's hear the Skitch
And Ed
Henderson
McMahon's
story.
still my manager.
Okay, so let's hear
And he doesn't know what the fuck to do with me now, right?
All right, wait. Let's hear the Skitch Henderson story first.
So when you do music on the Tonight Show,
Yeah.
at any time anyway, you have to, at least back then, you have to audition for the musical director.
Okay.
So I had to go into his office. So Ed McMahon invited the
How
entire
old are you?
staff, all the people in the outer office, 23, all the people in the outer office to come in with us. And I said, after I auditioned, and Skitch said great, and we leave, and I said, wow, that's like amazing. Does this happen? I mean, does everybody come in all the time for this? It's like just to have an audience, right?
Right.
And he said, well, Skitch has, has his, I don't remember how he put it, I don't remember the phrase, but it was, I didn't quite understand it, but I thought about it later, and I kept thinking about it, and I thought, and then stories were surfacing about him, casting couch kind of things. Mm-hmm. And
so it was
he
saving
was protecting me.
Okay.
And then so when I went on again to do Cards in the 1970s, which is another story, Ed was there, and he was
no
like,
longer your manager.
No, but he Tracy, how's it going? And it was so, and I had to meet him on stage, because I go out and I was on the panel
Right,
with
I
Johnny,
saw.
And I shake hands with Ed, and we couldn't
Act like you knew each
shoot
other.
the shit or anything, no, we couldn't do that.
So how did he stop being your manager? Do you remember?
I don't have so much is a blur after that, because I knew I had blown such a big opportunity. What he did was he found an agent for me and started sending me. He didn't even know what I did. He sent me up for play auditions and stuff. I couldn't act. I mean, really, it was. I should have just said forget it. Because we pitched Travels with Tracy, and everybody said, good idea, Ed, but why her? We're sitting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm singing, Don't Think Twice or some stupid thing, and there's mascara down here from the gig I did the night before. I mean, I'm a child.
Yeah.
And, he couldn't get it. Well, I couldn't sell it, and neither could he.
So he's no longer your manager. You've had this big opportunity. Do you think so this is important for what this show is
Also
about.
at the bitter end, Fred Weintraub, who owned the bitter end, wanted to manage me also, and wanted to put me on stage with guy dancers, and he wanted me to have my nose done.
Oh.
And I just said no, and then
Good.
About a year later I did.
You had your nose done?
Yeah. Because
I
I
always
saw
thought
it.
this was your nose.
No, I saw it. I was auditioning for something, and the camera was here, and the monitor was there.
Oh.
And I had never seen my profile.
Wow.
And I thought, here I am auditioning for commercials. If I really am serious about this, I can't have that. I didn't understand. Be yourself. I mean, I did as a person, but I didn't understand it for that. I regretted it. I always regretted it.
It's amazing that it didn't affect your voice.
Well, my voice has always stayed pretty much the same. What it is, what it is.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. We like it the way it is.
All right.
All right, so you're starting out to be a singer-songwriter. You're playing the circuit. You're being at the improv. So you're in touch with the comedians. That part of you is getting. How does the groundlings happen?
I quit show business after I got back from New York, and I became a nursery school teacher.
How old are you there?
Like 20. Well, there's some lost time in there, where I did nothing, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But I think around 28, 29.
Okay.
And I was Amy Sherman's babysitter at the time, too. You know who Amy is? She's the Miss Maisel. She's created that. She and her husband.
Wow.
And Gilmore Girls and stuff. Amy, I have great pictures of babysitting Amy when she was 4. She was the cutest little thing. Anyway, I just remembered that. And I became a nursery school teacher, and I dated a lawyer, and I just stayed out of show business. And then I'm not sure how it happened, but I met Ricky Jay.
Okay, so let's talk about that part of your life a little bit.
Yeah. Ricky, for those of you who don't know, was a brilliant magician, performer, a brilliant performer who passed away last November. And it was a devastating blow to a lot of people. And I met him.
He was a magician in large part.
I met him at the Magic Castle. He was in the close-up room. And I went to see that show I think 17 times in a row. What they do is you go in, you're in there for 20 minutes, and then they clear the room, and then they bring in another 25 people or whatever. It's a really small room. But I managed to stay in there. And I stayed in every night that I went. And I saw about 17 shows. And then I started dating him. And I had never seen anything like what he was doing.
Can you show us?
Well, I'm so rusty. If you go to Tracy Newman, Johnny Carson show on YouTube, you'll find it. And if you go to my website and go to Fun Stuff again, you'll see me on the panel with Johnny Carson, and that's pretty cool.
Which I watched this morning. I had seen it before.
Yeah, it's so cool to see him.
Because he's in awe of you.
It's like, what's going on
here? Well,
here?
because Johnny always loved magic.
He loved magic.
That was huge. And you were really good. And the flourishes, and he did a little bit, which was really fun, but he couldn't do it as well as you, which was really... he was very humbled by you.
He was, but at the time everything I did was beautiful. See, but this is the
let's make sure that you can see it.
When you do something like this, when you do it, the cards are supposed to be equidistant, really, literally, exactly perfect, and that's what because I haven't done it in years on a regular basis. I mean, I was doing hand modeling for people in card games and things, women and men actually, at that time.
And who were you a double for that got you on the Johnny Carson show?
Diane Cannon.
Okay, and what was she doing it in?
It was a sketch on the Paper Moon movie.
Oh.
Remember, she was playing Tatum O'Neal, and she was doing Tatum O'Neal in a card game, and it was very cool because what they did was they stopped tape. It was live. I mean, it was shot live.
Okay.
It wasn't shown live.
Right.
And so it was like the first time I had to perform, some sort of card routine in front of a live audience. And so I had Diane Cannon's shirt on. They brought me out. I did my stuff at the card table. And then I waved to the audience when I was done, and I left, and I got applause. And then they speeded it up, and it looked like she was doing it. And I've never seen it.
Wow.
And I've tried to find it, and I haven't been, I probably saw it back then once.
Right.
But I didn't
Paper Moon is not something you can easily find?
Well, no, it was a sketch. On the Bob Hope show. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
I was like, wait a minute. Diane Cannon was in Paper Moon.
No, I'm sorry, I'm being so confusing.
I was trying to remember
Diane Cannon. I left out the most important details.
Yeah, it was a sketch.
It was a sketch on one of the Bob Hope specials.
Okay.
And Johnny Carson heard that there was a woman handling cards, and he came over to the set to watch.
Wow.
And he had his makeup bib on. And
Did you know that at the time?
Yeah. And I met him. And then the way I got on his show, though, is I wrote a sketch for me and Ricky Jay. And it was the first time I wrote anything like that. You know, I had written some songs by then, but not this kind of thing.
Okay.
I wrote a sketch for me and Ricky Jay to do.
On The Tonight Show?
Yeah. Because he had been on The Tonight Show a number of times. So, and Johnny knew him. So when I went to actually shoot the Bob Hope show, he came, Bob Hope, Johnny met me at a rehearsal.
Okay.
He came, when I went to shoot the show, I took the sketch with me, and I was walking down to the Carson studio, and this golf cart was coming towards me, and it was Johnny Carson.
Okay.
And I jumped in front of it. Now think about that, everybody. You'd be shot today if you did something like that. So that's a difference in the time. This was 1974, and he swerved to avoid hitting me, and he stopped. And I handed in the sketch, and I said, "Remember me, Tracy Newman, the card for?" And he said, "Okay, sure." And I got a call 2 weeks later from the head writer, Hank Bradford, head writer of The Tonight Show, and he said, "We've rewritten the sketch for you and Johnny," which did not make Ricky very happy. But Ricky prepared me for it. He helped me get ready for that.
Wait a minute, so that was the thing that you did with Johnny at the desk?
There was this, did you see the sketch?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Today I just watched the thing at the desk. Yes.
Yeah, so it was just to come out of the audience as a shill.
Right.
You know, and sort of do a one-upsman thing on Johnny. And then Johnny was enjoying it so much, he asked me, they said, "Go behind the curtain, and if he wants to talk to you, he'll call you out." And he called me
And you
out,
don't know that until
No, you
then.
just stand back there. And he called me out. I was totally comfortable.
You seem
So
totally
I don't know
comfortable.
why I never was nervous, not even doing my...
I was going to say, were you nervous when he picked you out of the audience? No. Wow.
And I to this day, I don't know why that is, because I do get nervous for things. I wasn't nervous for that.
Wow.
I don't know what.
Was it Johnny? Was he?
He made me so comfortable.
That's so great. Yeah. And he was such a fan of yours.
He was such a fan. Maybe that's it. I knew it. Maybe because I knew I had the cards. You know, I had the goods. I think that's what it was. At least to the extent that I had the goods. You know.
Can you do? All right. So you did a flourish. Can you do anything for us? I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you really have to practice. You were telling
I can
Johnny,
show you this. I can't show the camera.
You were telling.
See stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I wish they could see it.
So that's like every other card. Literally, I've divided the deck in half. I did every other card like that. This is going to be so messy. Oh God.
So now, but you were saying that you were practicing about 6 hours a day. That's all right. Oh, that's still pretty.
You can
good.
imagine how beautiful it is if I'm really in my stride.
But she was Tracy was really in her stride. If you look at the video, I mean, what she's doing, it blew Johnny Carson's mind. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
It was really fun.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so see, you're getting all this love for that. People like
thank
that.
you,
See,
thank you.
You have appreciative people. So I'm trying to figure out how the career is going. So you're a teacher.
So then,
Now you're with Ricky Jay. Now you're starting to do them.
Well, sometime around the time I was with Ricky Jay, I saw this thing that there was going to be a class that this guy Gary Austin from the committee was teaching at the Cellar Theater on Vermont. And I went. It was an improv class. I had seen improv in New York at the actual improv.
Right.
And I went. And
how old are you now?
29, 30.
And is Lorraine's like a kid, but
Lorraine was 9 years younger, 21 or whatever, and she was in Paris at the time.
Oh, so she didn't go with you to the class?
No, I dragged her to the class. After I saw what it was like, I thought she would love this. I
Okay.
didn't know how good Lorraine was going to be.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, I went there and it was like Tim Matheson was there and Pat Morita and Jack Sue for some reason, and Craig T. Nelson.
Wow.
I mean, it was a great group. And Archie Hahn and Valerie Curtin, who, you know, they were the best two people in the class. And a couple of other great people. Steve Bluestein, you know Steve Bluestein?
I do.
He was there, and Jimmy Martinez, who was a great comic back then. And they were all in that class, and I dragged Lorraine there, and the first time she was there, I sat there and I'm watching her and I'm thinking, my sister is a fucking genius.
Wow.
I mean, you know what? She got this. They're called adjustments. You know, do this, do that, and they'll adjust you. And it was. Gary said to the group, "We'll give Lorraine an adjustment." And I said, "Fainting spells." And you know how skinny Lorraine was, like 90 pounds, right? And she proceeded to do a scene with somebody where she fainted every few moments, like a necrophiliac kind of thing. But she would do this, because I know Lorraine, she doesn't want to get hurt. So when she would fall to faint, I don't know if you can do this. Am I still in camera?
Yes.
I'm going to go down here. She would go like this. She'd go and go down
And touch the floor.
and touch the floor carefully, slowly, never speeding up. So slowly, go down to the floor, and the group, I say audience, but it was us, we were laughing so hard every time she did it. Or she would sit in the chair and just faint like this. And her head was so limber, it would be like a headless body, totally. She had a different way of fainting every single time, and it was just masterful. And I was so aware of that, and I started teaching there.
How did you come to start teaching?
I don't know. I looked at that and I thought, she has no fear. I'm terrified. There's a couple people here who have no fear. I think I know how to get somebody who's like me to do that.
Wow.
That was sort of the way I felt. And I still was performing. I was in the show for years. But I drifted into teaching because I did private lessons there, because I would work with somebody to get them so that they were so, when you do cars like this, you perfect it. And when it's perfect, or you think it's perfect, or maybe it is, you don't think about it anymore. Just like Peter plays the guitar, if you've got the goods on stage, you're certainly not worried about that. You might be worried about something else, but you're not worried about the mechanical stuff. And there's something about, you learn the rules of improv, and you kind of learn certain things about what to do, and you can learn certain things. You don't learn what Lorraine does, or Melissa McCarthy, who's just,
it's a gift.
Or Paul Rubens, I mean, but there is a lot to learn, and just practice, just being out there,
So how did the Groundlings start?
There was that class. We just named ourselves and started doing shows, and then we moved.
And who was in that original class? That original group of the Groundlings?
Well, I named some of them, but when we were at the Oxford Theatre, which is when we were before we built the theatre we're in now, or that they're in now, it was people like, Phil Hartman was there, Sandy Helberg.
Hi, Sandy.
Not Lynn Stewart yet, but Archie Hahn, Liberty Williams, Louise Williams, who you can hear Michael Eisner on a clip talking about her.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of an interesting thing. She was great.
Lorraine was
Carroll,
original.
Lorraine, Gloria Vassie, Phyllis Katz, Bill Steinkellner. Who else? What am I forgetting? Well, I'm talking about the Oxford. Steve White.
So now, when you start out, what does it take
people.
for you guys to get an audio? Like, how does it grow?
You've been doing this a long time. You know exactly what I'm about to say. We started out at the Oxford Theatre, which was a 60-seat theater, and sometimes there were 3 people in the audience and 25 people on stage. So we would always win in hand-to-hand combat if it came to that. And then finally we got to the point where we were selling out. But that was after maybe a year and a half. And, selling out a 60-seat theater.
Right.
So we thought we need a bigger place. So we played a lot of places around town, and then we thought we need our own theater. And my mother had just built the Westwood Playhouse. And I went to her and I said, will you put up the money for us to, if we find a spot to build this, something inside of a spot. Don't have to buy the property, just, convert a spot, because she was so good at that. So she put up the money for the Groundling Theater.
Good investment.
And Archie, who built it by hand with a couple of other guys, my older brother being one of them, he matched her money. because he was working all the time. Liberty and Archie were working all the time. And in fact, when Lorne Michaels came there and they plucked Lorraine, they offered Saturday Night Live. It's my understanding that now how formal the offer was, I don't know. But Archie and Liberty and maybe even Sandy Hellberg and Jim Lashley, who was there, they were very interested in more than one person.
Okay, so now how old is we're just having kitchen noises and all kinds of things.
That's the coffee
now
machine.
We're making coffee.
The coffee machine's going off. Actually, we weren't so stupid to make coffee right now.
Okay, so what? How did it happen that Lorraine got the? What happened?
Lorraine had. Once we were doing a show regularly, Lorraine had so many monologues that between every scene there was Lorraine doing a monologue, and she was brilliant. So Lily Tomlin, who I knew from the 60s, but I'm not sure that I was the connection. Some people would say, what are you even talking about that for? But there is a little something in me that thinks I might have told her to come there, but possibly not. I don't know. But somebody takes credit for that, and that's fine with me. So she was going to do a special, and she brought Lorne with her. And they watched the show, and they were interested in. They took 6 or 7 people to do her special.
Okay.
And
Lorraine was one.
And you can see Lorraine, and that's one of the scenes from that special, the sorority scene, which is where you see the Valley Girl, but they're all doing it. And the one, Valerie Bromfield, is kind of where they all got it, and she's in the sketch too, doing it. And Lily, they all have their own take on it, but it's so good. And so they made an offer to some of the people, and
Lorraine took it.
Lorraine had nothing going on at the time. If she had been making the kind of money that Archie and Liberty were making, she probably wouldn't have gone either, because you're moving to New York to do a pilot.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
A late night, Saturday night. Never been done before, this kind of thing,
right.
At least not since the 50s, a live show. I'm not even sure they knew everything of what they were going to do. You didn't know the other people. All you knew was Lorne and a promise. I don't know.
Was Lorraine scared?
Yeah. And
were you scared for her?
Yeah, and she drove there with her boyfriend. And when she got there, she parked on the street, right, with her costumes and everything in the car, and they were gone.
Oh!
All of her costumes. God knows what they're doing with them, or what they were going to do with those.
So Lorraine goes off to New York, and she becomes
Lorraine,
a star.
Yeah.
I mean, Saturday Night Live could not have been bigger.
No.
What are you doing at that time?
Just in the Groundlings.
You're in the Groundlings.
Keeping it going.
Okay. And
it was really Gary and Tom Maxwell and myself who were the ones who were coming up with the show orders and running the classes, and just Tom Maxwell's really the person. I mean, that place wouldn't exist without Gary, of course, but also Tom Maxwell was the person who showed up. He didn't get drunk every night like a lot of us did, sometimes. So he would be there at 9 o'clock in the morning to open the doors. And to make sure it was a going concern. Right. He really did run things.
And so, how did you segue from the Groundling? So you're right.
So I was at the Groundlings for 15 years.
Are you writing sketches there?
Yeah. Well, what I ended up doing, because I was teaching a lot, is I was rewriting a lot of endings and rewriting a lot of sketches.
Did you have training as a comedy writer?
No, but I did learn there. It was like going to college.
Okay.
I learned like what worked, and who you wanted in the sketch and stuff like that.
How did you learn structure for
TV?
Yeah.
By what? I didn't start writing for television until my daughter was born in 1982. She was about 6. What is that? I started watching Cheers and other shows religiously.
With that intention?
I don't know. No. I just was like, that time she'd go to bed, and then I just would watch 2 or 3 sitcoms every night for a long time, like 2 years. Well, and then John Stark, we were looping a show, and he said, hey, the Steinkellners are running Cheers now, and they asked me to write a spec script. Would you write one with me? And I said, I don't really know how to do that, but sure, I'll give it a try. He didn't know how to type, so.
So he needed you.
Well, you know, he can do that. And so the minute we started writing our first spec script, I kind of knew we would have a career.
Really?
Well, because he made me laugh so hard. And I thought, if he's making me laugh this hard, can't he make like a quarter of the people laugh?
Okay, so now what was the secret of that partner? So how did your partnership work? Did you write together?
Yeah.
Okay,
but I was at the computer, and I kind of understood structure, but I don't know, I think just from watching all the shows. And so I was more like a story person. And I'd pitch a joke now and then, but it was mostly, or sometimes I'd write a whole scene and put the jokes in, and then as we'd do a rewrite, he would replace almost all of them, because he was just way funnier, you know. And to get hired on Cheers,
wow,
you know, we did know the executive producers; they were groundlings. To get hired on that at 46 years old, my partner was a man, 10 years younger. I fulfilled their sex quota and their age quota.
Ah, were you the only woman on staff?
No, there was another one, a young woman, that was brought on by the young guys. I'm Dan O'Shannon, I think. I'm not sure. So anyway, that was the beginning of our career, our writing career, and really, you can fail upwards for a long time.
What does that mean?
I mean, you don't have to be that good. Now,
Wait,
I think that John
what does
and
that mean?
I think that John and I were good, but I came across a lot of people that started on a really good show because they knew somebody, and then they would move to another show and they would be not so good, but they were fun, which is a really important thing for all of you would-be writers out there. If you're fun in the room and you're easy to be around and you're a decent writer, you might be able to get a job, because there's a lot of really funny people out there that aren't working in television because nobody can be around them for more than an hour.
Wow.
You know, they don't know when to turn it off, or they don't know when to turn it on. You know.
So when you're in the writer's room on a show like Cheers and you guys write a script, is it going back into the writer's room and then everybody's changing it? Yes.
Yeah.
So how much is your stuff getting changed? A lot?
Entirely.
Entirely.
And not the story, though.
Right, but the script.
But I have to say that the first time that we were on the stage and our first one was being shown, or being shot, and we were introduced as the writers and the audience applauded us, I remember thinking, there's really something wrong with this, because there's not a word of ours in there. And that's the way television works, though. What comes around goes around. I mean, eventually, if you get good enough, you're replacing somebody else's words all the time.
And you got into that position.
Yeah, we did. We created According to Jim in 2001.
Okay, so
And then
what happens? So you guys are on Cheers for how long?
Just one season.
One season.
The 10th season, and then we moved with the Steinkellners and Fief Sutton. We moved to Bob, which was the last show Bob Newhart did. He was a cartoonist, and it was at CBS, and they ran for like 2 seasons.
Bob New, I mean,
he was brilliant.
What a genius! Oh yeah.
You know what? I saw him. I was at a little event for him at Factor's Deli, maybe a year ago, and he just said, "Hi, Tracy," and I thought, that's just unbelievable. I mean, I didn't really know him, but he would come up to me from the stage during the show. Sometimes I was the one he came up to. Sometimes he'd go up to another writer and say, "Instead of this, can I say this?" And of course it was better, and it was coming from him, right? And, you know, rewriting jokes on the stage at the Bob Newhart thing, or for Bob Newhart, just, he had the fixes.
Wow.
Or if you were working on a fix, he would come over to the group and he would join and he would come up with the fix.
Wow.
So, you know.
Okay, so how long? So you were on Bob Newhart for one season also?
No, 2 seasons.
2 seasons, and then
like
what?
A season and a half. After that, I think our next thing was The Nanny.
Okay.
Which was, whoa. It was.
How?
It was late nights. I loved the staff. But working on that show was really hard. I'm Jewish. You really have to be Jewish to be there. or gay. Or a gay man, I should say that. No, or gay.
Okay.
My partner is not Jewish, and he's not gay. And he would cry walking to the car. They didn't understand his jokes. I think it was one of the first times that ever happened to him, where they didn't really laugh at his jokes. I did.
Wow.
Because to me, funny's funny, you know.
Right.
But it was not the right tone. He was not happy there. And we were consultants, as I recall. I think. I don't remember if we were there more than 2 days a week. We might have been there 5 days a week. I don't remember. And then also, Fran would come waltzing in with her dog at 10 at night. You know, with, oh, let's see what you got, you know, and just, I don't think I'd say that and stuff. And you knew you were going to be there till 2, 3 in the morning. It's just a very tough hours. That's what it is. She was very funny and a sweetheart, but, you know, it's a hard job.
That was a hard job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a show called Hardball that starred Bruce Greenwood, a comedy. Bruce Greenwood is the star. And Dan Florek, and what's her name, who married a congressman or a senator?
I don't know.
I can't think of her name. So funny. I loved her. I'm forgetting some big people.
Let's look up her.
Rosemary.
Oh my God. Oh, we're blurry.
Hardball.
Hardball, I'm looking.
Anyway, it was kind of mismanaged. I mean, Jeff Martin, who I love, was he was one of the showrunners, and he really wanted to do a sitcom about baseball, but the studio and the network just wouldn't leave it alone. You know,
Alexandra Wentworth.
Yes,
Oh, she's fabulous.
She's so great.
Yeah,
she's so
fabulous.
adorable. Who else? Oh, Mike Starr is very funny. And we were kind of unhappy there too.
Okay.
And then, we might have interviewed for a couple jobs, but ended up at Ellen then. I don't know what the year is now. I might be forgetting something, but Ellen had been these friends of mine, and the creators were leaving, and new people were coming in, and it was maybe the 6th episode, and so we got hired. And we were there, as I said, 4 seasons, and then after the coming out episode, we went to Hiller and Diller, which was one of my most favorite experiences.
Really?
That's not the right way to say that, is it? My favorite. It was a Imagine, you know, what's his name? Brian Grazer. Brian Grazer thing. And it was written by Lowell Gans and Babalu Mandel. And I had known Lowell, like really in the 60s or 70s. In the 70s I met him. And I just thought he was a genius. So I was so thrilled because we interviewed to run the show, to be the executive producers, and they chose us.
Nice.
Because of this.
Yeah.
Really, you know. And this show starred Richard Lewis and Kevin Nealon and Eugene Levy. And a kid named Kyle Sabihi and a couple of other great kids. And oh my God, I'm really leaving out some good people. And it was so much. It was 2 comedy writers, and so John and I could really relate. And it was really Lowell Gans and Babalu Mandel. They both had families. One was Jewish, and Richard Lewis was impossible and so adorable, and so what a sweetheart. And I would get these long faxes at 3 in the morning, and I'd just cut to the end of it.
We know this is a long time ago.
And the end of it would just be, so can I just change this word? It would be like, yeah, duh. You know, and so that was our first experience running a show, and really fun, and it didn't succeed. And then we had been writing pilot after pilot after pilot. Anyway, we wrote about 8 pilots for ABC. We wrote one for Caroline Ray, Brian Regan.
Oh, wow. Love them both.
And I know there's other, Tim Bagley. Mike, what's his Forte? Will Forte.
So it's not all success.
No, and our 8th pilot was According to Jim.
And so,
there's a whole story. That's a whole other hour. But anyway.
Well, give us the cliff notes.
Well,
of that.
I mean, really, when I say we wrote we didn't have Jim Belushi and write According to Jim. We were told ABC needed a family show to follow another family show, and they came to us for that.
Okay.
You know,
So you didn't write it with Jim Belushi in mind?
No.
No.
In fact, I think Tom Selleck was the first idea.
Wow. Now those two people could not be less alike. That's kind of crazy right there.
And really, even with Belushi, people didn't think that it would work, but my feeling, we watched a movie that he was in, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but he was terrific. And I thought, he kind of has a bad rap for trading on John's name. But he really is great in his own right and always did deserve to be noticed anyway. So it only matters if they don't have talent.
Right.
If you're talented like that, who gives a shit? So he was just, the minute we heard that the minute we decided, yes, let's do that, we met with him. And it was a great fit. And he was terrific.
And so what happened? So you did according to Jim. You didn't stay for the whole
but
run.
I waited till we sold into syndication.
Okay,
Which
nice.
means, they usually buy...
That means the house.
Actually, this house was built in 1989, though we built it in 1989, so it's before television. But anyway, my husband was doing commercials and making good money. And
but definitely the syndication is the change of
yes.
the future.
I was able to buy the house outright. Yeah.
And so when you left according to Jim, what happened?
I left according to Jim to be a singer-songwriter again, and I was 62, and if you think about that, I was going to little clubs and singing for 10 people and a dog.
Okay, so now what year is this that you make this decision to leave
like
TV?
2003.
So now, because according to Jim went into syndication, you knew that financially you were going to be okay.
It looked like it was going to last. I didn't realize it would go for 8 seasons.
Yay!
And it was just bought by something called Access TV or Laugh TV or something like that. So that means, for more coming. So, it's the gift that keeps giving. And, I'm actually proud of the show. I know a lot of people made fun of it, but with the pilot, which John and I wrote, I loved that pilot. I just thought it was just great.
I have to go back and watch it. Is it
really fun.
findable?
Yeah, I'm sure it's findable.
Everything's findable.
I have the DVDs.
Cool. I don't even know how to work my DVD player anymore. Those days.
I do.
I might know how to do it. So that's a pretty ballsy decision. So what happened to Jonathan?
Well,
when you
John
decided?
stayed.
Okay.
And it was okay. We had been before we sold a pilot. Before we sold a show, I had told him I wanted to leave, and we were fine about it. We had worked. We had been together 16 years, and it was it was fun a lot of the time, but it was a difficult partnership too. I think all partnerships are. So I was ready to leave. And he was fine without me. He could write a script without me. And
could he type?
By then he could, yeah. I don't know if he did this, but he could do this faster.
Yeah.
And also he could use an assistant, too.
Is he still writing television?
He's still writing television. I don't know what he's on right now, but he still writes. And so I asked this is what I said to my agent.
Oh, who must have loved your decision.
Right. Chris Silverman was my agent, by the way. He's now the president of ICM.
Wow.
I know. He looks like Tom Cruise to me. He's so cute. Anyway, I'm sorry, Julia, his wife. Well, no, that's actually a nice thing I said about him. So I said, get me the kind of deal that you would get your mother, because if you don't get her a good deal, you're going to have to support her.
Oh, I like that.
So he laughed and he said, okay. So he made me a consultant for a couple of years on the show, and I didn't have to go in. And mainly he just got me a good deal. And I already had back end, points and stuff.
Right. So you move into going back to being a singer-songwriter, which you had been.
Yeah, and what I did was I went to Harriet's class right away.
Okay, so we're talking about Harriet Schock.
And I started writing songs like a mad woman, and went to Nashville and took a couple of songwriting things, and just really started, in 2007 I did this, I produced this album, and I'd put a band together that happened so organically. Pete understands what I'm saying. I mean, really, I was singing alone on stage at a place, and two people from opposite ends started harmonizing with, I was singing Lorraine. And they started harmonizing with Lorraine, and I said, hey, come on up here. And it was gold.
Wow.
And I said, hey, let's form them, So it was Tracy Newman and the Reinforcements.
Hey,
exactly
I have to ask you something, because someone got on the thread earlier today and said, Tracy was also an original New Christy Minstrel. And I said, wait a minute. I said, Tracy's introduced me to Art Podell, and I know he was. And I said, I don't know that about Tracy. She's never said it to me. And I went back and looked at the wiki page, and your name isn't there.
No.
But tell that story.
Well, here's why it's not in the wiki pages. I
Okay.
wasn't hired by Randy Sparks, who was the leader of the group. I was hired by Greif Garris, who were the managers.
Okay.
To replace somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that I was a temporary replacement.
Okay.
So I was like 21 and thinking this is the best group I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
I had seen them a lot.
How many of you were there at a time?
10. Always 10.
Uh-huh.
2 women and 8 men.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen them, and I couldn't believe, and I was a Randy Sparks fan.
Mm-hmm.
He had been recording alone before that, so I was a huge Randy Sparks fan.
Mm-hmm.
So they needed somebody to come in and do 2 Vic Damone shows with them. So I came in and did that with them. And I never did a live show, and I never recorded, but I rehearsed with them, and I did that. And Martin Guitars they did a series of guitars, and I'm number 21, my guitar. And there, so they recognized me as a member, and so did I was a member.
Uh-huh.
But I wasn't, Randy. Even though I did work with him a little bit, I feel, I guess, because it wasn't his choice, and his wife was his ex-wife at the time, and still was, or she might have been his wife at the time. But anyway, Jackie Sparks was the other girl singer, and she was blonde, and she was in same vocal range. And when they replaced me, it was with someone with a real singer. With a range and everything. They were going to do the Andy Williams show, and they needed a couple people who could read, and they it was like it was too much for me.
So
and I was way younger, not way younger, but like 5 years younger than everybody. My parents got involved. I was like 18 or 19.
So now, coming back to full circle to now to this latest decision.
Haven't we gone past an hour? It's like
so 10,
it's
like it's 10 o'clock at night. No, because we had an earlier show. We always go an hour. We always go about an hour and a half and stuff. But we also had an earlier show that was like 15 minutes that is fakakta now. So I'm gonna get rid of that later.
Would you like a question?
Sure.
I didn't write this
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Oh, is there a question?
Yes. Tracy, if you were given a go to write a show for any cast you wanted to today, who would that be, and what would the story be?
Well, that's too much for me to answer right now, but I would say that I would love to work with Melissa McCarthy. I think, having seen Melissa McCarthy at the Groundlings, I see much more in her than what the public sees.
Like what? Like what would you do with her? She does very subtle work. Well, what's the new one she just did when she was nominated? Is great. I'm sorry.
But
what's it called?
Could you ever forgive me?
Could you ever forgive me?
Liza, thank you, Liza.
Well, the thing is, like, Melissa McCarthy has quiet comedy things that she does that I would be wonderful to explore, and I don't know what the show would be or what the movie or whatever it would be. That's one person. I haven't thought about this for
Does it call to you? Does it ever call to you to jump back in?
When I go to the Groundling show now, there's terrific people. I would never have gotten in if the level was what it is now. It's just brilliant. And there's a couple people in there that I think it'd be fun to write a show for those two, But I don't know. My typing. I make a lot of mistakes now. It was like as soon as I quit writing television, I started making a million typos. Because I didn't have to do it. I think that's part of it. I don't know. I'm sorry that I can't.
But that wouldn't stop you.
No, it wouldn't.
There's
I would
delete
have an
and
assistant.
yeah, and you have an assistant.
I'm enjoying writing blogs occasionally. Other people's, adding to other people's blogs. I don't want to work that hard. It's a lot. It's really hard work. Television, I think.
So, So you started your own thing. You added a band. Now you've done away with the band again, and now you're Tracy Newman again. You're not playing with
Well,
them.
I'm doing children's.
Okay, so tell us what you're doing now.
I have a company called Run Along Home, and my first CD was this. My daughter did the artwork.
I bought a
Where's
few
the
of
best
them.
place?
Gave them. Is that good?
Yep, that's good.
Okay,
My
wait,
daughter
where's
did the
the link?
artwork.
Love it.
There's a picture of my daughter and me. And most of these are songs I wrote. It's called I Can Swing Forever. And Edward Auslander, who's from France, is my producer, and I'm really enjoying it. He's just brilliant. And this is my second one. It's called Shoebox Town. And
I
my
haven't heard that one
company,
yet. Okay.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
My company's called Run Along Home, and this is the logo up here, Raw, Run Along Home. And Charlotte did the artwork again, my daughter. And my third one is about to be released in about a month or two. I'm almost done. I'm actually done, but I have to get the artwork.
Now, did this all? What started you on doing the children's stuff?
Well, partly what happened was, I don't know. I started writing kids songs, and I started thinking, I have enough kids songs to.
But wait,
already-
what started you writing kids songs?
I've been writing them all my life.
All your
Because
life?
I always sang to children, and I did children's. I just did stuff for children all along. When I was teaching nursery school, I would sing to them and make stuff up,
Right.
And so I wrote some children's songs, and I had enough to do a CD, and half of it would be stuff I sang to Charlotte when she was going to bed at night, when she was little. And I thought, why don't I do this?
You want to sing us a little something that you would sing to Charlotte?
Yeah, one of the bedtime. My company's called Run Along Home, and I didn't write this song, but it is. I believe.
Well, no, do one that you wrote. Do one that you wrote.
Did you ever once feel like I feel, loose and easy and free, like sloppy shoes, like really good news? Did you ever once feel like me? Did you ever once feel like I feel, up and open and bare, like up on your toes, like anything goes? Did you ever once feel so fair? Might be the one I'm loving, makes me feel this way. Might be the one I'm loving, makes me wanna say, did you ever once feel like I feel, like the queen of the Tower of Love, on top of it all, like you never should fall, just flying over the moon above. I don't usually. I don't usually play the sleepy ones because I end up with schools singing these.
Right.
Because I don't want to put them to sleep.
So you've got like a classic folk singer voice, doesn't she?
I was thinking the same
Right?
thing.
It's like such a classic folk singer voice. It's not something that we hear very much anymore. It really like pulled me back to the 60s myself. I loved it. So Tracy, if you had have you lived all your dreams? Is there anything that you'd still love to do that you haven't done yet? Because you've done a lot.
God, I hadn't thought about that. I would like to get this company so that these are out there. Because even though people, I sell them, but I don't sell them on the. I have a distributor and everything. I don't sell them on the scale that I feel they deserve.
How does something like that happen?
Well, I've started a company and I've hired some people to run it, and we're trying to figure it out. And I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Do you?
These days, I think it's really hard
Music's
to sell.
really hard.
It's really
And
hard to
CDs.
sell product. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's impossible because everything is accessible on YouTube and on every other streaming source. So, and you can get it all for free.
Yeah.
So it's so hard. I don't really.
But if I wanted to be remembered for something, is it going to be according to Jim? Wouldn't I much rather be remembered for this?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
That's a good. That's an
that's sort of
interesting
what-
question.
That's sort of how I feel.
I don't know. I think being remembered for this is pretty damn
First
good.
of all, who's going to remember anybody? right?
Wow.
But, just if you think of your legacy, I'd like it to be a series of children's records, I guess. To me, that's the most important audience now.
Wow.
I mean, when I send my CD to a school ahead of time, and then I walk in and they realize
that you're the lady?
person that they've been listening to every day at nap time or whatever, quiet time, is this person, and I start singing and they recognize not only my voice but the song, and they know all the words. I might as well be Rafi.
So now is that what you do? You send them out to
Well,
schools?
I'm starting. I'm
That
doing
sounds
it.
like
I've
a
done
really
couple
good
of
idea.
things, but yeah. And I did it. I used to do it when Charlotte was in school too, but I didn't have a CD then. I just would make a cassette and send it. And I do the same thing, But now I'm really sort of doing it and getting good photographs and good video of it, so that I can do it more.
Well,
I really
okay, so
enjoy it.
I had asked her originally, you had said that you wanted to end the show with a children's song, and I was like, well, no, that's not really our audience, but now I drank the Kool-Aid and I'm
Well,
here.
I mean, the nice thing about ending with that is you can go out on anything, because I'm going to sing Piccolo Mini, which is a nonsense song, and I didn't write it, so
All right, so we're gonna say thank you to Pete George for being back there, and you can find Pete in Texas, where?
El Paso.
Comic strip. What date?
Tomorrow night, first show through Saturday, 6 shows.
Okay, Pete George is going to be in El Paso, so if you're in Texas, check him out, because he's the rock and roll comedian, and he's funny, and he plays rock and roll. And Tracy, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Well,
I'm
for
so
me
sorry
too.
about my Wi-Fi thing.
Well, look, we're getting all this love is coming up. People don't.
It's
they
because
don't
of
care.
the rain. Okay.
You're getting tons of love.
Tons of love.
Like, I'm reading these, I'm like,
Lots of love.
nice.
Okay, this is Piccolo Mini. I'm going to sing it once so you get it, and then sing it with me and sing it as fast as you can.
Pete, that's you.
Piccolo Mini, 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 P. They really laugh at that. Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, again. Piccolo Mini, 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 P. Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, faster. Piccolo Mini, 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 P. Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini, Piccolo Mini. That's as fast as I can go.
Wow. I was gonna sing, but it was coming out as colonoscopy.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Wow. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for putting up with our internet glitch. I'm so happy you're here. And next week, Rob Bonfiglio. Were you at
You're
the house?
kidding me.
Were you at the house when Rob did Women Who Write?
No.
Okay, sorry, Carney Wilson, but I'm in love with your husband. I love him. And Rob is the musical director.
Wait a minute, no, I was there.
Okay, so
I
Rob
was
is
there.
Rob is the musical director for Wilson Phillips, and he also is plays with Brian Wilson and does the singing of the Beach Boys songs. Like, he sings all the. Anyway, he is incredible, and as talented as he is even a more incredible human being. I am a huge fan, and so next week we'll be back with Ron Bonfiglio. Rob, I do that all the time, and he said people do that. It's Rob Bonfiglio.
I think it's because of the two B's.
Sound.
The
Yeah,
two B's.
it's the weird thing.
You want to say Ron, not Rob.
Yeah, it's Rob Bonfiglio. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here. See you then. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.